What's up, guys? Finally back. Had to replace a USB port on his computer. Took a while for it to come in, but we're good to go. So my mic, the webcam would work, so now we're good to go. So, with that said, topic I wanted to talk about, and the reason I want to talk about this is because some idiot was leaving some comments in on one of my videos refuting my diet recommendations and saying that a plant-based diet has been proven to be healthier. This is wrong. Basically, most plant-based diet people, they're just peddling propaganda. And I think the reason behind it is they think that they're smarter and better than people who aren't doing the plant-based diet. So they kind of like to push their beliefs on other people so that they can feel better than you and smarter than you and healthier than you. But after doing some research, there's really almost no evidence that shows that there's really any health benefit to a plant-based diet or a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet or any of this shit. So I'm going to talk about a couple of those things and dispel a bunch of the myths of the plant-based diet. I'm going to give you some examples of clients I've had who were on plant-based diets and how unhealthy they were. And I'm also going to reference some research here. So first of all, let's talk about what is a plant-based diet. Pretty much self-explanatory. It's a diet primarily based on plants. So this is going to be like green cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, spinach, lettuce, kale, asparagus, that kind of stuff. You know, common vegetables like tomatoes, squash, fruit, and all that kind of stuff. But also, the bad part about plant-based diets is that nobody's going to eat only plants. So what they do a lot of the times is they incorporate carbohydrates like refined grain-based carbohydrates into them. Almost every vegan I've met eats mostly carbs. So it kind of defeats the purpose. They take the moral high ground by not eating meat, but at the same time, they're really not even eating plants. They're eating just mostly bread, rice, and oatmeal, and all that garbage. So believe it or not, a plant-based diet turns out to be more unhealthy than a regular omnivorous diet. An omnivorous diet is the diet that our DNA or our species evolved to consume over the course of the last 1 to 2 million years. Omnivorous means we eat both meat and plants. So if you look at, so we're about 98% identical DNA to chimpanzees. Look at what they eat. They're mostly, they're eating some fruits and some vegetables, but they're mostly eating bugs, and they actually eat a lot of small rodents. Not to mention they eat each other, which is kind of weird, but they eat a lot of meat. And we are most closely resembled genetically to a chimpanzee. So the closer you kind of eat to how they eat, they're true omnivores, the better your health is going to be able to express itself. So omnivorous means a combination of both meat and plants and fruit. And you can have some grain-based carbohydrates in there, keep it moderate. But a lot of these fitness fake gurus, they like to peddle this nonsense. People love being on the extremes of the spectrum. And almost everything in the entire world is going to meet in the middle. If you go extreme one way or extreme the other way, you're doing something wrong usually. So all meat-based, like a carnivore diet, not good. All plant-based, like a vegan diet, not good either. Meat in the middle. We are omnivores. So a carnivorous diet, our DNA is omnivore. So eating an all-meat diet does not coincide with our genetic predispositions in our DNA and our evolutionary history. Same goes for the plant-based diet. There seems to be both camps thinking that if you choose one side or the other, there is some magical benefit to it. This is wrong. It's just not in our DNA. Let's look at the basic physiology of like an herbivore and a carnivore. So an herbivore, for instance, look at a cow. Big, massive animal. A cow has to eat all day long because there are so few calories in plants that they literally have to constantly be consuming in order to stay alive. A cow also has, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, more than one stomach. Let me see. Okay, so they have one stomach separated into 4 different compartments, which is not what we have. And the reason that the cow has this particular physiology when it comes to their stomach organ is because they're herbivores and they eat all plants. So there's a separate process, a different process of metabolizing and digesting the plant in the cow with its 4 different, I guess we'll call it sections of the stomach, than our stomach. They were designed to eat all those plants. Also, look at the teeth. What does it say? Okay, that's just semantics. It's just being silly. So, look at the teeth of a cow. Cows have all molars across their entire jaw for grinding up plants. They have a very distinct physiology, which they evolved in order to have optimal health from a plant-based diet or an herbivore diet. Now let's look at the other side, carnivores. Look at the carnivore jawline. Mostly sharp, pointy teeth for tearing through flesh. My dog is sitting over there. I don't think he has any molars in his mouth. They're all just sharp. Towards the back, they're a little less sharp, but mostly sharp teeth for tearing through flesh. Clear indication that that species, which is basically a wolf, evolved to eat flesh. Now, what about us? We don't have this specialized stomach. We have some molars and some canines. So in the front, you can tell that we have sharper teeth for tearing through flesh. And in the back, we have molars. Clear indication that we evolved to consume both plants and animals. Just basic physiological evidence there. So what are the downsides of a plant-based diet? Well, first of all, I brought up just a quick Google search. Just I just looked at, I just Googled benefits of or why eat a plant-based diet. And we're going to go through the benefits that they claim here, and I'm going to dispel them one by one. So here's number one. Research suggests that people who eat primarily plant-based diets have a lower body mass index and lower rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease than those who eat meat. Now, if I scroll to the bottom here, I don't see a single research paper cited for any of this. But so you'd have to look, so they just, and this is medical news today, they just kind of peddle this BS. And believe it or not, body mass index is a really poor measurement of your health, because I have a super high body mass index because I'm 215 pounds, but I also have 10% body fat. based on the body mass index chart or scale, I am unhealthy and I am obese. Well, I can assure you that I am not. So body mass index does not take into account or consideration muscle tissue. So obviously, those people who don't eat meat would have a lower body mass index because it is extremely likely that they have less muscle tissue. Less obesity, less diabetes, less heart disease. That may not be, if that were true, I'll play a devil's advocate here. If that were true, if truly people who eat plant-based diets have lower obesity, lower diabetes, and lower heart disease, it is likely because the people who do plant-based diets are kind of health nuts and actual nuts. They like to do the extreme. So a lot of these plant-based diet people aren't the fat asses sitting and watching Netflix all night. They're generally the people who are highly active. They're generally joggers. They're health nuts. So the lower rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease is not due to their stupid diet. It's due to the fact that they're probably exercising excessively. Hold on one second. I'm going to turn the air conditioner off. Annoying. So, if that were true, which based on the research that I pulled up here, it's not, it would be because of their lifestyle, which is generally relatively active. And exercise, as we know, reduces inflammation. And inflammation causes things like diabetes and heart disease. So I've got a study here done in 2020. It's titled Associations of a Vegan Diet with Inflammatory Biomarkers. In here it says, let's find where it says this. It says, what does it say? There's one second. Is this the one? So it says in this diet that there is no significant difference in BMI between people who eat a plant-based diet and people who are omnivores, who eat both. So this research showed no significant difference in waist circumference and BMI between the two groups. Also, what's the next one? So let's talk about diabetes and heart disease. Those are generally caused by inflammation, blood vessels, and the arterial walls and stuff like that. This study also found no significant difference in any of the investigated inflammatory biomarkers, which cause inflammation. Interleukin 18, interleukin 6, let's see, high sensitivity C-reactive protein. All the indicators that they use for indicators of inflammation, which are linked to things like heart disease and diabetes, there was no significant difference between a plant-based diet and an omnivore diet, eating both plants and animals. So those are the first two things. What else I got here? A 2018 study found that a plant-based diet was effective for treating obesity. Didn't reference the study, of course. See, this kind of shit is written by silly vegan peddling lunatics. In the study, researchers assigned 75 people who were overweight or had obesity to either a vegan diet or a continuation of their regular diet, which contained meat. Well, no shit, they lost weight. Like, see, this is so stupid. So they found that a plant-based diet was effective in treating obesity. So with one group, they switched over to a plant-based diet. No meat, probably no carbohydrates, literally plant-based. Of course, they didn't reference it. and they actually lost weight compared to the other obese people who continued their diet, which made them obese. No shit. So if you switch to a plant-based diet and you have obese people on a diet and you have them eating only plant-based foods, you're going to have a drastic reduction in calorie intake. That's why they lost weight, not because of where their calories came from. And you're comparing them to the group who continued on the diet that made them obese, which included meat. This is absolutely insane. So people read an article like this and believe it. They're like, oh my God, plant-based diets are healthy because they gave a bunch of fat people plants only, and then they had the other fat people continue eating whatever made them fat. And oh my God, the ones who ate plants lost weight. No shit. So, in all, there's no significant weight loss difference. There's no magic about a plant-based diet. If you eat 5,000 calories through plants or 5,000 calories through meat, you're going to lose weight on both diets. But with the meat, and the research shows this very clearly, diets high in protein intake preserve and build more lean muscle tissue as fat is lost. So the people who are eating plant-based diets for weight loss are going to lose a ton of muscle, and they're going to look terrible and feel terrible. Some insensitivity. Here's another one. A 2009 study on more than 60,000 people also found that babies had a lower average BMI. BMI is a shitty indicator of how healthy you are because it does not take into account muscle tissue. It's an old, stupid way. Even my own doctor doesn't even take it seriously. I went in one day and he said, "Oh, your BMI is high, but I think it's because you have a lot of muscle." Dude, look at me. You had to use the large blood pressure cuff on me, of course. So even doctors barely take that thing seriously. Let's see, what else we got here? Eating less meat can also reduce risk of stroke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, certain cancers, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. There is no evidence that shows this at all. Yes, the American Heart Association said this, but the American Heart Association also used to tell you to eat sugars and carbs instead of fat because that was better for your health. They've since changed their stance on that after killing about a zillion people. Eating vegetarian diets, include dairy and eggs, also at a lower risk of type 2 diabetes than meat eaters. Let's see. I want to see if I can find one of the studies, but they never. So they're not referencing the studies. But the studies I have here say, even the most recent one here, no difference in inflammatory markers, no difference in BMI, no difference in waist circumference. But one popular reason people do plant-based diets is because of the improvement in your gut flora, or the microbiome in your gut helps with digestion. So there was another article I was reading that was pretty dumb that listed all these advantages of eating a plant-only diet, and you're going to absorb more nutrients because you have better gut flora and a better gut biome. But there's another research paper that observed the connection between a plant-based diet and exploring the gut microbiota connection. Let's see, it says, I just read it, but I can't. Still unclear. So this diet, or this research paper, explored and compared an omnivore diet, vegan diet, and a vegetarian diet. And what they found was it is still unclear whether a vegan diet has any effect on the gut microflora for long-term health benefits. I'm just getting to the end of here and just skimming through. So this paper is called The Health Advantage of a Vegan Diet, Exploring the Gut Microbiota Connection. This was done in 2014 and states it is unclear whether a vegan diet can be prescribed to alter the gut microflora for long-term health benefits, meaning it is unclear if there's any health benefit in terms of microflora with a vegan diet. The problem with the vegan diet, and I've seen that because I've had, I believe, 2 clients who would not eat meat. And after further investigating how they ate, they said they were vegan, vegetarian. Anecdotal, but I've had about 4, 5, or 6 clients who ate this way, would not eat meat, would not eat protein when they were doing my strength training program. All of them were overweight, like badly. All of them were significantly weaker on average. One of them had a stroke. He was overweight and he had a stroke, and he was a vegan, ate plant-based diet only. I thought it was supposed to reduce, and he had been on it for a long time. Most of them had a tremendous amount of aches and pains. And most of them had I would say all of them had very minimal improvements in body compositions in combination with a strength training program. It's very hard on a vegan-based diet to get adequate protein intake. Intuitively, I do not believe that the protein from plant-based foods works as well in terms of building muscle tissue as the protein in animals. That's just something, I have no evidence to support this, but that's something that I firmly believe, just intuitively. And based on what I've seen with my clients, it seems that people who are on plant-based diets do not build as much muscle tissue, do not get as strong, and do not have as good of a body composition as those who are omnivores. The same goes for carnivore diets. Stupid. Really, really stupid. And here's why. So I'm saying plant-based diets are stupid. That does not mean eating plants is stupid. That means eating only plants is stupid. We need green vegetables and we need fruits because of the anti-inflammatory things that come with them. Also the fiber, especially men. If you are a man, you want to eat vegetables daily, of course, because the fiber helps, and the anti-inflammatory things in plants helps reduce colon cancer and prostate cancer. Drastically reduces chance of colon cancer and prostate cancer if you're eating vegetables regularly. So there's health benefit to that. Also, all the micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, all that stuff. Hold on. Vitamins and minerals found in vegetables and fruit, very important. So if you're doing a carnivore diet, it's literally as bad as a plant-based diet. Stop at the extremes on each end. And if you're recommending these kind of diets to people, you should be ashamed of yourself because it's disingenuous and it's dishonest. Our DNA and our biology was meant for an omnivore diet, and that's the way you should eat. One second. Put the chargers in here. Okay. So, how should you eat? I posted a video explaining what I eat and literally cooking it for you. Very basic. You're gonna want to throw some vegetables in there too. I didn't do it for the video, but basically, my vegetable choice is broccoli. I'll go on and off eating them, but keep in mind, you should be eating some vegetables, especially if you're a man. You should be throwing them in your diet. I didn't do it in that video, but throwing in something like asparagus, broccoli, green beans, something like that, some green cruciferous vegetable is the way to go. So that's the breakdown of plant-based diets, how stupid they are. Don't do them. You may see, if you ever do them, a little bit of weight loss, and that is because of reduction in undigested food in your stomach, and also a reduction in muscle glycogen. So don't be fooled in thinking that it's fat, because most of the times it is not. So if there are any questions about anything I just talked about, please put them in the comments. I prefer not answering the same hit questions over and over again. I believe I've answered most of them. Those questions will be in my private Patreon group, which is going to be coming this month at some point, still getting content together for it. And if you have questions about HIIT, I'm not going to be answering them so much in the live streams. The live streams, I'll answer basic questions about the topic that we're talking about. If you have questions about HIIT specifically, I'll be doing videos based on those questions in the private Patreon group. Vegan diet is good for some, doing it for some time. So the vegan diet is good. It's not. It's not good at all. It is good for some people with certain health problems. But for most people, an omnivore or omnivorous diet is the way to go. There's no benefit at all to doing a plant-based diet versus an omnivore diet. There's no benefit at all. All right, how important do you think vitamins are? Vitamins are not important if you're including some fruits and vegetables into your diet. You're going to get B vitamins, A vitamins, vitamin C. You're going to get all those things from just putting some fruits and vegetables into your diet. But you don't need to go crazy. Just a serving of vegetables in your diet is going to cover all of those vitamins that you need. I don't think there's been any really significant benefit to taking a multivitamin. On top of a regular diet that includes, vegetables, animal protein, and some whole grain carbohydrates. What about protein-rich plants like beans and legumes? Like I said, I'm on the fence about that. I have no evidence to support this, but intuitively, I don't think you're going to be able to build muscle as effectively with protein-rich plants like beans and legumes compared to animal protein, just based on the way we evolved. I just intuitively don't believe protein through plants is as effective, because they don't, to my knowledge, the source of the protein lacks certain amino acids that we need for optimal muscle and strength improvements. And if you are exercising and dieting, there's no reason that you shouldn't want optimal improvements in muscle strength and size. You're not going to become a bodybuilder for most, but you should be wanting to build the most amount of muscle tissue that your body will hold for health reasons, and the most strength that you can possibly get out of your workouts. Yeah, this is right. Diet like our ancestors. There are millions of years of evolution. And think about it this way, like if you went into the woods, Say you had to survive in the middle of the woods. What would you find? You wouldn't really find that many plants to eat. You'd find some, but you wouldn't be eating grass, would you? There wouldn't be any lettuce out there. There wouldn't be any broccoli. There wouldn't be any asparagus. We bioengineered a lot of these vegetables. If you were to try to survive in the woods, you'd probably be eating small animals. You'd be lucky to find some fruit, maybe some edible vegetables here and there, but you would get most of your calorie intake through animals. And if you were smart, you'd be eating a lot of bugs because they're, believe it or not, pretty nutritious. So what I used to tell my clients all the time is, eat as if you were, eat what you would find in the woods. You wouldn't find bread growing on trees. You wouldn't find rice. You wouldn't find whole grains out there. You have to survive on bugs, small animals, fish, and some plants and vegetables here and there. But even closer to your evolutionary ancestors is probably the way to go. Let's see. I was actually digesting bacteria. Yeah, that's just a dumb thing. So, have I heard of? I don't even know who that guy is. But anyway, I've got 2 to 5 more minutes here, so it's got to be a quick one. I got a lot of things going on today. So if you guys have any other questions, do you think nuts are important? No. We wouldn't find nuts in the woods either. Nuts are fine. I mean, they're a great snack, like almonds. They're pretty nutritious. But the problem with nuts is they're calorie dense. So I've had clients who I'd ask them what they eat. Of course, they would lie to me. Say, a lot of vegetables, a lot of plants, a lot of nuts. And then they would start to diet and they would start eating almonds like by the handful. You got to figure a cup of almonds is about 800 calories. So if you're going to eat nuts and you're looking to improve your body composition, you really need to be careful about how many they eat because they are super calorie dense. When I want to put on weight, I eat peanut butter out of the jar. Each scoop of peanut butter, each tablespoon of peanut butter is 100 calories. So if you're going to eat nuts, be careful because they are extremely calorie dense. They are nutritious, yes, everything besides peanuts. Peanuts are terrible. But walnuts, almonds, pistachios, whatever, all that stuff, fine. Be careful of how many you eat. What is my opinion on eat less beef for environmental reasons? I think that is complete bullshit. I don't think cattle is ruining the environment. That's just this whole, my personal opinion on things like climate change, or they changed it from global warming to climate change now. I do believe the climate is changing, but I don't think it's gonna end the goddamn world. Like, that's insane. And to do things like stop beef production or make people eat a plant-based everything for the sake of saving the environment, that's insane. Because believe it or not, agriculture is much more detrimental to the environment than cattle is. Like when you clear out hundreds or thousands of acres of the environment to grow wheat and corn, the amount of biomass or wildlife that you kill cleaning out those thousands of acres to make your corn and your wheat-based products is 10 million times the biomass that you kill for cattle and chickens and beef and stuff. Politics are sketchy because the thing with politics is they both hate each other, and they're both extremes. They're both extremes, and they're both peddling propaganda. Politically, I'm libertarian, live free or die kind of guy. I don't, certainly not liberal, but on each side, they're both freaking crazy. And, you got one side saying climate change is going to murder us in 5 years. You got the other one side saying that it doesn't exist. Listen, Probably exists. Does it make significant difference? Probably not. So my opinion on that is it's fine. There's no reason we shouldn't be, eating meat and raising cattle. Grass-fed beef is extremely good for you. But I mean, the way they kill these animals, I think could be less brutal. Like grass-fed beef and things like that. Like they don't make the animal suffer. They don't torture the animal or stress the animal, or they're not brutal to the animal. I think the way we approach it, slaughtering could certainly be better. But again, we got to feed 330 million fat asses in this country. They're just doing what they have to do to turn a buck. Are we going to change the way they slaughter animals? No, we're not. They need to fill 330 million of our fat asses. If you are American, it's our culture's fault. It's not the corporation's fault. It's our culture's fault. We're a bunch of freaking gluttons. Whatever. Yeah, the killing of the animal isn't. I mean, the way they do it is pretty brutal. But again, I mean, it's what the market demands. You look at the Chick-fil-A drive-through or the McDonald's drive-through or any of the fast food. Listen, it's your fault. It's your fault the animals are getting killed. If the market decides what it wants, and the United States market or Western society market wants this crappy burgers all the time, hey, if you stop buying the burgers, that stuff's going to stop. It's your fault. So don't blame anybody else. If you eat at home. If most of you people would stop being so lazy and you stay home and cook your food as if you should be doing, a lot of that inhumane slaughtering would cease. The market dictates. Supply and demand dictates what happens. You can't blame the corporations for supplying the market with what it wants. Sees an opportunity, it's going to do it. If you don't like it, stop eating it. Again, like if I'm eating beef, I'm eating the good stuff. I'm not eating that crappy stuff where they beat the hell out of a cow. It's just personally, I like animals, and I don't want to see them suffer. So that's my own personal opinion. But if you're going through the McDonald's drive-through every day, well, you're probably going to die anyway. Any other questions? Yeah, I do believe, Miguel, that it is propaganda and most of it is hoaxes, because a lot of times they just, the news wants your attention. They want to scare you. They want you to watch. So a lot of it's just kind of BS. Let's see. My battery's getting a little low. I got 8% left. A couple more questions. Got to charge my computer because I actually fixed it myself, and I wanted to get a live stream in really quick. So I got my charger. Any other questions? I'll answer a high intensity training question if you want. Let's see. I think I had a. Let's see. I wrote some notes here on other things about people guys. If you guys have any last quick questions, I'm going to do another live stream about how carnivore diets are stupid and how keto diets are stupid. Stop doing this keto thing. Everybody wants to be on a keto diet just so they can tell people they're on a keto diet. Keto's stupid and it's hard. Just reduce your calories. Cook your food. I do the live stream in the kitchen for a reason, because this is where I spend a lot of my time, because I cook my own food. Cook your food. How long have I been eating like now? Jesus. 7 years? 7 years? I've been eating the same way for 6 or 7 years. Am I ever sick? No. I got a cold. It was probably COVID though. Last December. Not this past December. December 2019. I got a bad cold for about a week, but I think it was COVID. So that was the last time I was sick, and it really wasn't that bad. I went to a boxing match and drank beer, so that was fine. But actually, the last time I was sick was for about 2 days, but it was allergies, because I live kind of by the woods, and I moved to Florida recently, and I'm not used to the allergies, but we all get trashed in February, March, when the pollen gets really bad. So, and I guess it was sick, but it was allergies. I'm very seldom sick. I just cook my own food. I mean, I don't eat a lot of processed junk. because you got to think long term too. I know the food's tasty. I know it's easy, but when you're 55 and you got cancer and heart disease, was it worth it? Probably not. Take a little extra time to cook your food. It doesn't need to be fancy. You don't need to go vegan, carnivore, or whatever. But make it part of your lifestyle. I made this part of my lifestyle. I just cook. That's something I do. It's not like you could see all this stuff I have. I have a $200 set of knives, a nice toaster oven thing, great pots and pans. Just get used to it. Make it part of your life. Make it a habit. It's a habit to get on Snapchat and Instagram and play Call of Duty all the time. Make cooking. If you own an Xbox, I do. But if you own an Xbox, you should be cooking. Because you got enough time to play that stupid thing. If you have a favorite Netflix TV show, you can die. Because the time you're spending watching this stupid BS could be spent cooking and preparing games. So that's my tongue lashing I'm giving you for today. I'm going to knock some sense into you guys. All right, so my next live stream, what is it, Monday? Probably later this week. It's going to be about keto diet and how stupid keto is. And if you'd like to join, check my Instagram, J__Vincent. I'm going to post probably a day before. Got a lot of new content going up there too. I'm just putting content out like crazy. So if you're watching this live stream, you're probably subscribed anyway. But of course, hit the bell notification icon so you can be notified when I go live and when I put up new content, because I'm putting up content almost daily. Because there's a lot of stuff to cover. I'm in the gym recording workouts and recording exercises. I'm putting them together into full workout plan so you can see each exercise performed with explanation in my Patreon group. So those are going to be the people who have access to the full workouts and videos addressing all this other stuff. Patreon's coming up this month. It's going to be $20 a month. And basically, you're going to have unlimited access to me. You can ask me all your questions, and I'm going to address them in videos that everybody can watch and find the answers to. And it's going to be a really good way to learn everything I know without having to dive into all the books that I did the past 5 years. So, next live stream going later this week, probably Thursday or Friday. Stay tuned. Follow my Instagram. More content coming up. If you guys have any questions on things you want me to address, throw them in the comments here. Send me an Instagram message. Send me an email, biofitny@gmail.com. Whatever. There's a lot to talk about. Thanks for joining, guys. I'll see you later this week. Again, any topics you'd like me to talk about. If it's not what volume or what exercises, because I've beaten that horse to death, put them in the comments and I'll address them. Thank you for joining. I'll see you guys later this week. Have a good day and eat like an omnivore, not a vegan.